doesn't love the Subaru WRX? A rally bred, turbo, all-wheel drive, vape cloud blowing machine. And this year, we're getting a new one, and it's gonna be epic, right? Right? Why are you guys looking at me like that? Oh God, look what they did to my boy. Damn it, Subaru. You had one job. Look, I'm the Squid. This is Ideal Cars. We love the Subaru WRX, but I think we should talk about what the new one means, what it's all about, and why everything is terrible. Or is it? Stay tuned. To start with, let's get this out of the way. I'm not some hater. I love the WRX. One of my dream cars for my entire adult life is a bug-eye station wagon, a WRX. And I will own one day. Just to make sure it's not us, we did a deep dive on the internet, checked out some comments, some forums, some subreddits, all about the new WRX. And I think the majority of commenters on the internet kind of agree with us here. And of course, the first point of pain is how it looks. The first thing that assaults you when you look up the new WRX is all the plastic. Why did they do this? What WRX owner wanted this plastic cladding all over their sports car? It's like Subaru wanted to make a Crosstrek sedan. I mean, look, I get it. A Subaru WRX is supposed to be pretty rugged. It is a rally car. So maybe that's why they decided to put plastic all over the fenders? But if you ask me, a WRX is a sports car. Save all that plastic crap for Volvos and crossovers. Now, of course, once you get away from the fenders, it is not the worst looking car in the world. It's actually got a couple of nice lines on it. It's pretty modern. It has decent looking lines on the side. I really like the headlights and taillights on this thing. And of course it does thankfully have that all-important hood scoop. It even has some nice, muscular, aggressive fenders. And of course, once the tuning scene gets a hold of these, puts on some bigger wheels, maybe figures out how to take all that plastic off, I think this could be potentially a very good looking car. Now, some of you may already have an idea of why I like the look of the 2022 Subaru WRX already. If you've been watching our channel lately, you know I've made a bunch of videos about a certain car that I'm a big fan of, the Civic Type R. And it seems like the engineers over at Subaru are also big fans. Yeah, this is another comparison that's definitely unavoidable. It was even the first thing I posted in the Ideal Team chat while the event was still going on. And I'm not alone, the comments online are definitely seeing it too. I'm pretty sure the online consensus is basically if you add an HDMI port to the back of the new WRX, you've got a Civic Si. That's not to say I hate it though, I think the taillights on the new WRX look pretty good. They could have certainly done a lot worse. And of course, looking at the 2022 WRX, everyone's trying to imagine what the STI will look like. You put a big wing above those taillights, I think it starts to look pretty good, at least from the waist up. Besides, who cares about how it looks? A WRX has always been about performance, right? The WRX has a long pedigree of being a top performer, even a supercar slayer sometimes. You know, maybe it used to, let's be honest. For the last 20 years or so, the Subaru WRX has kind of been sailing by on reputation alone, as in those 20 years, it has barely added any power. And it has added plenty of weight. And with recent announcements of a 400 horsepower Z, a 306 horsepower Civic Type R, and even the GR86 closing in on WRX performance numbers, Subaru had to raise the bar, right? Right? No, they didn't. The new Subaru WRX makes 271 horsepower. Yeah, this is the number in the release that really stings. I'm not saying that 270 horsepower isn't a lot of power. It's more than enough to have fun with. I mean, the Veloster N has about the same power, and that car is a hell of a lot of fun. But if you ask me, I think I'd rather buy a Hyundai Veloster N. I mean, a 400 horsepower Z was just announced. And in the olden days, the 350Z and the Subaru WRX were kind of competitors. But today, the Subaru WRX shares horsepower numbers with a GR Yaris and a base model Mustang. And this is disappointing for another reason too. There's a whole new engine in the new WRX. Meaning that when Subaru was coming up with this, the world was its oyster. It could do anything. I mean, the Subaru Ascent was making 260 horsepower with the FA24 years ago. You're telling me in the last few years, they were only able to manage to squeeze out 10 more horsepower out of the thing? That's like a cold air intake or like a light ECU tune. It's kind of a joke. The only redemption arc for this platform is that Cobb already has their hands on it, and some tuners have built the motor to 500 horsepower. So it is tunable, it is a good platform to build off of. But what you get out of the box, for the price, will get decimated by a Camry. And at least the Camry's not covered in ugly plastic. Now, it is still a WRX. It's fun, it's tunable, and it comes with the Save the Manuals manual so you can buy a shirt and drive this car around. There is still hope for it. But don't start celebrating yet, get ready for a little of that hope to die. Because yes, the base model WRX does come with a 6-speed, but notice how I said base model. You see, if you want the higher trim GT model with all the fancy extras, you're gonna get the 3 worst letters in automotive technology ever made, a CVT. This is probably one of the biggest WTF moments of the whole reveal, and one user kinda summed it up best.
The GT trim with the better suspension and Recaros and other goodies only being available on the CVT is a shock.
And I totally agree. I do not legitimately understand why they didn't at least give us the choice of a manual transmission in the top trim. They even tried to do a little marketing magic in the reveal trailer, claiming that the CVT was an 8-speed manual with flappy paddle gearbox. But we all know the truth, Subaru. That's a f***ing crossover transmission, and it is a sin. Why would you put that in the GT? The people who want the better suspension and Recaro buckets are the enthusiasts, not the grandmas who just want to drive around in the snow and all-wheel drive. The top trim is for the people that want to drive fast and have fun, and those people are going to want a stick shift. Was Subaru not listening when the crowd cheered when the new Z got announced with a 6-speed?
The Z comes standard with a 6-speed manual transmission.
Sure, maybe that CVT feels good, or Subaru's somehow finally figured out the magic recipe for making CVTs not a total pile of garbage. But you see, I've rented a lot of cars, and a lot of them have come with crappy CVTs. And all of them are sluggish and bad and feel terrible. When even the Veloster N comes with a dual clutch transmission, and of course the Civic Type R is coming with a manual, I don't know who Subaru is trying to attract with the GT trim on this. Maybe, just maybe, they're just assuming all of the real enthusiasts are gonna be waiting for the STI version. And anyway, speaking of the shifter, let's talk about the interior for a moment. Man, you really have to give it up to Tesla for this one. The Tesla Model S redefined what the interior of a car looks like. Even the WRX now has a giant Tesla screen in the center dash. And that's actually the one redeeming quality of this interior if you ask me. The rest of it looks so Subaru. Ever since I was a baby squid, Subaru has never nailed interior design. They give you a functional space, a place to sit and drive, and that is it. It's fine. It's meh. There's just really nothing to talk about. I mean, even their reveal had to point out that they had aluminum pedal covers, which goes to show that they really have nothing to say when it comes to the interior on their cars. I'm sure Daddy Doug will find lots of quirks and features with the new WRX, but all I see is a basic car interior that's upstaged by even the cheapest Accord. An Accord, by the way, that's cheaper and might actually be faster in a straight line. But okay, it's not all bad though. There are a few good things about the new WRX reveal that I might actually be a little excited about. To start, this new WRX is built on an entirely new platform. So, and I'm being charitable here, that means that we're seeing the genesis of a new possibility with the Subaru WRX. Look, no one thought the Mark IV Supra was going to become the legend that it is today. Back in the 90s when it was for sale, Toyota couldn't even give them away. And today, they are beloved. And everyone I've talked to about the new WRX platform is really excited for the possibilities of what it might be. And the biggest advantage of that new platform is the suspension. Compared to the outgoing WRX, the new Rexy is super rigid. It has stabilizers built in everywhere, and everything from the top down has been really reinforced. The new suspension has more travel and less roll than any WRX before it. So yes, while it's utterly disappointing that there's no power bump, what the new WRX should have is faster lap times. And I won't lie, that is kind of the most important part. And when you think about what the WRX is meant for and who it's meant for, it kind of makes sense some of the decisions they made. I mean, look, it's a rally car, and you don't need tons of horsepower to climb a hill, you need torque. And the KA24 supposedly has gobs of that. They even advertise that it has a fat power band. But rumors are online that the new WRX might have the same or less torque than the outgoing model.
That sucks.
So, you know, maybe that power band is as fat as they thought. And again, it's a rally car, so you don't need huge wings and aero, you're not going that fast. What you do need is body protected cladding, I guess, to keep your paint clean. And I'm sure in their board meeting, they thought, you don't really even want a manual if you're driving in the dirt. You just want smooth power delivery, high ground clearance, and smooth torque application, and a cheap but rugged interior that can take some abuse. And that's what it seems like Subaru's going for here. The new WRX is not meant for street racing tuners, but for people who want to drive a mountain road to reach their destination. Now, time and sales figures will tell if they were right, but if you ask me, wouldn't all those people just buy a Crosstrek? I don't think all the mountain biking hippies of the Pacific Northwest are driving their current Crosstrek and going, boy, I wish this had less room, less versatility, and worse gas mileage. That'd be the perfect car. But again, who am I? I'm guessing Subaru knows their customers better than I do. So maybe they're being smart. Or maybe this is what it looks like when a car is on the market with literally no competition. The Veloster N costs more money, and it's front-wheel drive. The GR Yaris is all-wheel drive, but they don't sell it here in the States. The Nissan Z will have more power and more fun, and it's gonna cost a lot more. There is an all-wheel drive hatchback with a turbo and 315 horsepower. It's called the Volkswagen Golf R, and it costs $40,000. So again, without Mitsubishi putting up a fight with the Evolution, the WRX pretty much owns the all-wheel drive turbo sedan market. And what this reveal kind of told me is that Subaru doesn't have to impress you. You'll buy their car, even if it's ugly, even if it's slow, even if it's got a CVT, because what else are you gonna buy? Now, at the end of the day, I'm sure this is going to be a great car. We all hated the last generation when it came out, and we've all warmed up to it now. And at 28,000 bucks for the projected price, you could do a lot worse. That's 10 grand less than a Z and 20 grand less than a Supra. And hey, the STI will eventually come, and I'm sure that will be fine. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you like how the new car looks? Is it more Civic or more Crosstrek? And what car for 30 grand would you rather buy than the new WRX? Let me know down below. And while you're down there, like the video and subscribe to Ideal Cars if you haven't already, because it makes us feel real nice when you do. And as always, keep living the ideal lifestyle.